You sure kept me waiting, huh? I'm sure if you spend enough time on social media, you've probably noticed the growing hate towards a certain type of game that have something in common. Cheap, indie, cooperative titles, often with voice chat being encouraged over, say, Discord or TeamSpeak. Is the hate justified? Do developers still care about making quality multiplayer experiences? Or have we entered?
Whoa. What the hell is this? That Friend-Slop? That was the best thing you guys could come up with. They're cooperative games. Why not call it something more like...
Countless games can fit within the definition of co-op slop. And while there are certainly plenty of obvious examples of unpolished works, I feel as though it's not really genre exclusive. And so for this video, I'll be focusing my attention on the mostly well-known examples. In case you've never heard of a Friend-Slop before, it's typically used to describe games where 1 to 4 players in a pick-up-and-play environment use teamwork to overcome a challenge. Now, I'll start off strong with arguably one of the most popular and recent games within the genre, that being... Peak exploded onto the scene out of nowhere. Overnight, it quickly shot up onto the Steam charts. You couldn't go a second without seeing it somewhere. And honestly, yeah, I see why. Despite being made for a game jam, Peak came with a lot of depth for the most part, despite its original time constraint. The concept is simple. You gotta climb, either by yourself or with the greatest treasure of all time, a friend who's gonna kill you at any given opportunity for his own self-enjoyment. Or even better, 3 of them. Having managed to survive a horrific plane crash, the objective is simple. Make it to the peak, or die trying. Be it from self-sabotage, starvation, freezing to death, or the Scoutmaster. And lots of falling. Where Peak stands out to me is its balance. Despite how challenging and near impossible some of the daily seeded runs may seem, it's still easy with enough time and practice to solo your way through the game. But a campfire just isn't the same without your friends, and that'll be a bit of a common trend you'll come to notice across these games. But truly, is that something that makes Peak bad? The core mechanics and gameplay loop are solid, and the fact the island is generated daily means that every time you play, it'll always feel a little bit different. And is that even something new? Why does a game that gets better with friends have to be used as a means to inherently diminish its quality? Look at the Mario Party series. While some titles may be stronger than others, all the games have a solid foundation to them. But you know what truly makes the definitive Mario Party experience? Playing them with friends. Is it fair to call something bad because friends make the overall experience more fun? Of course not. The core principle to why we make multiplayer games is so that we can experience something not possible by yourself. And in order to sell hundreds of thousands of copies, with 30,000 plus players still playing every single day, then objectively speaking, there has to be quality within the experience. Unless you're a Destiny 2 fan.
Friends don't just make moments funnier. They bring groups of people disconnected by borders and seas and make them feel closer than they ever have before. That's the purpose of these games. Hey, do you mind giving me a hand? I'm starting to slip.
Well, I'm dead now, but that's a perfect way to transition into our next game. If you think peak fatigue is bad, man, come sit down with old metal and let me tell you what it was like when this bad boy came out. While it's no shade to the dev, if this game came out today, it would have been sent to the Shadow Realm for its use of paid assets alone. And I mean, what? Am I exploring a haunted sketch fab? That said, the game has come a long way over the last 5 years. Oh, well, how was it 5 years? I was making videos on this before college. Oh my god! If you ask me, what really gave Phasmophobia that head start was its use of proximity voice chat as both a means of communication and for gameplay purposes. The ghost could hear you call out commands, and while it certainly wasn't the first game with proximity chat, it completely overhauled the gameplay.
Satan sucks fat cock. Satan sucks fat cock.
It didn't feel like you and your buddies were just playing some spooky game. It was like you were all actually in this experience together, with VR being the cherry on top. Was it the most immersive? God no, but considering it came out during peak of 2020 lockdowns, even the furthest of friends felt like they were right by your side. Hiding out, scared of some digital ghosts, honestly, it was the best. During the furthest moment of our lives, I've never felt closer with some of my friends. Over the next couple of years after Phasmophobia, gaming saw a rise of similar clones, which in part is what I believe fueled the modern slop association with the genre. All games take time and energy, but it doesn't take much to clearly see when something was created out of imitation, and not a genuine passion for making something original for the love of creation. Devour, Forewarned, and In Silence may come to mind, serving as a prime example of what is at times modern shovelware, with most typically getting very spaced out support, and others being outright abandoned. That's not to say that these games are inherently bad, it's just that it's very obvious where the inspiration had been drawn from. But that's more of an issue within Steam's early access system as a whole, rather than to blame on these monstrous genre definers. And while they all had their own popularity and success at points, or at least within their own little niche, few were as widely remembered, which to me only reinforces that Friend-Slop is so much more than just funny moments in voice chat. Well, thank God this style of gaming faded away after 2021, right?
Do you guys want to see my new ship? YouTube just wasn't covering the bills anymore, and I lost my other job in a horrific gas explosion. But neither of those gave me any great bonuses like this one. It even came with this nifty cabinetry installed. And after a couple of jobs, I was even able to afford this fancy old teleporter.
The bed was better off as storage. Plus, I have all this leg room out here.
I didn't always used to work by myself though. I used to have a supervisor. What a great guy. Shame what happened to him.
Beam me back! Beam me back! Please! Ah!
It's a pretty good job, all things considered. Well, the money won't make itself.
Lethal Company wasn't just cooperative sloperative coming back for round 2. It was like an entire rebirth of the idea, even outselling AAA franchises. Like the previous entries in this video, Lethal Company was built upon a relatively simple but addicting gameplay loop.
It's real easy. First I pick a place, then I make my way over to the entrance, and from that point it's like shooting fish in a barrel. Most of the time it's all random junk, but if my bosses are willing to pay $50 for a screwdriver, I can't complain.
And once again, with the help of the integrated voice communication, once again playing with friends is where Lethal Company truly shined. Hearing your friends scream in the distance after you all got separated, it managed to bring both a comedic and self-made horror element to an otherwise mildly spooky game. And of course, just like last time, the success of Lethal Company brought on another wave of similar games, but this time things were different, at least a little bit. While I've yet to actually play them myself, the headliners and murky divers kind of felt like the "we got Lethal Company and content warning at home."
And that's not to say that they're all bad. A lot of time and love was clearly put into both of these games. But that said, you can draw a lot of comparisons when held up to one another.
While looking for the best games to cover for this video, I actually came across several of these co-op slops I'd never even heard of before. Zort is a game that exists, and feels like it's tiptoeing a very thin line with these interesting design choices. Oh, and let's not forget, of course, about Panicore. Okay, I see why this one didn't pop off. And Dark Hours? Species Unknown?
Ah yes, my favorite, Escape the Backrooms. Not to be confused with the original Backrooms, Escape Together. Why, of course, my mistake.
Oh, and look what we have here, my favorite, Misery, named after the only experience I had while playing the open beta. A couple of these games I've mentioned all came out within a week alone, and that's not even including the popular ones. Half of these I didn't even learn about until I started doing this video. I need to take a walk.
Was I wrong? I started the video wanting to defend these games and the quote-unquote genre that has sprung up, but man, my feelings have changed a little. The longer I pondered, the more I found myself questioning things and even doubting myself. Every game takes time and energy put into it to make it more than just some low-tier Roblox slop, but maybe that isn't enough. So much of it all blurs together, the uniqueness stops showing through. For every peak, Lethal Company, and Phasmophobia, there really does feel like countless others that its sole purpose is simply trying to steal a piece of that pie. But now, was I being too harsh? I mean, even my own videos are heavily inspired from what I watched growing up. And so, does that make me slop? Purely from wanting to make my own version of something I once loved? I know I'm not the first, nor will I be the last. So is it fair for a content creator like myself to just bash these? I mean, sure, it takes a while to throw together a high quality video, but that's still nothing compared to what game development requires. And in that moment, I began thinking to myself that maybe all we need is a proper game that feels like it has a lot of depth, with multiplayer feeling like an option and not the only way to actually enjoy it. But that's when I remembered the greatest co-op game does exist. I have to tell someone, I said aloud, which is what led me to.
I have to work quickly. Abiotic isn't just a semi-linear survival sandbox. It's bold and well-loved. It feels like if the original Half-Life was a multiplayer survival game, while still maintaining actual progression and story elements. While it's not for everyone, the main gameplay loop is kind of like something you'd see on a PS1 title. You know, the sort of, hey Leon, can you unlock that door so you can unlock that door so that then we can unlock that door? So guess what? So we can unlock that door? So we can unlock the next door? Upgrade your keypad, unlock that door, and make your way through a nice new shortcut. And there's so much to do. If you're anything like myself, you're gonna spend the whole time looking for the 10 out of 10 coziest spot to set up shop.
But don't forget, it is a survival game, and it's not survival unless something's trying to kill you.
And like I said, with how much content is there and a Project Zomboid-like skill system, every member of your group is able to have their own unique build.
I genuinely love Abiotic Factor, and it's exactly what co-op means to me. There's a solid base game there, but when played with friends, it just works.
How dare you disrespect me, the mighty Todd Howard. To repent for your sins, I will blast you back to reality with my Todd Howard beam cannon. Also, what would your jobless ass know about something that works? Bitch ass motherfucker. Shawoo, shawoo, shawoo.
I spent all this time, and while I understand that there's a bit of a saturation problem, I guess I just don't understand why Friend-Slop gets hated on so much. I mean, look at something like the price of movies nowadays. $30+ for a person to go see the next big Marvel slop if you want to talk about something that capitalizes on friendship. But ultimately, what's wrong with wanting to spend some money to have a shared experience among friends? Just like movies were, this is no different. The whole time I've been questioning the motives and intentions of developers, but not once did I ever stop and ask the question that was staring me right in the face the whole time. People throw out the term Friend-Slop anytime a game is designed around bringing people together, but yet, maybe they've just never had a friend slop on them.
I'm not gonna skirt around the truth. What I'm trying to say is, you don't have any friends, but that's okay. Well, I'm Metal the Rat. You've probably been offended. I'll see you next time.